Yes, normally. Okay, that should work. Great. Hello, everyone. It's really an honor to have you all today for this General Assembly of the Quantum Computing Association. So I will present myself very briefly. My name is Arthur. I'm the current president of the Quantum Computing Association. I've been over there for a year now. Yeah, so the main idea is the main objective of today is to mention a bit, okay, what are our current objectives, what have we done in the past, to give you an overview because we have a lot of newcomers today, trying to introduce all the activities that we've been doing so far and what we aim to do in the future. And yeah, so, and in the second part, we will focus on a more like interacting part where we'll welcome all the new students that want to join the association, the committee, to, you know, help us organize the different projects that we're gonna present to you today. And yeah, so if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to just unmute yourself and interrupt me. So it would be like more interactive in a way. So here, okay, I begin with this page. So as you can see, we are, this is a nice reminder of a time where we did not have to meet only online. So here's one of the first pictures of the Quantum Computing Association back at in Zurich. Actually, we were at the Quantum Industry Day in Switzerland, which we hope will hold again on site in a matter of few months. Yeah, so this is among the events that go around quantum technologies overall in Switzerland, and we hope to, you know, make a case here in EPFL as well for advocating quantum technologies. Okay, so let's try. Yeah. So very briefly, a quick presentation of myself, so you know who is talking right now. So I'm 23 years old. I'm basically finishing my master's in physics here at EPFL. I have the chance to be part of the lab of Professor Vincenzo Savannah, who is here and who's also the main advisor of the Quantum Computing Association. So my background is essentially in physics, in quantum physics. I've been like working on those quantum computing applications for a while now. I basically started very next door in Geneva with a very nice internship in quantum sensing, which was really experimental physics and super single photon detection. Then I decided to move a bit more on the theory side. So I went into Professor Savannah's lab for investigating quantum algorithms. So first part was basically investigating quantum counting algorithm. The second part was more related to you know, quantum algorithms that could be run on a very on hardware of today, which are called NISQ devices. And finally, this year I'm ending my master with a very nice project in collaboration with a startup, which is called Quantum Machines. If you're interested, I can tell more about them at the end of this presentation. But yeah, it's really a great opportunity for me. And for now, I'm still in Switzerland. I'm doing this work remotely, but normally I should be able to move in Israel because this is where the company is based. I should be able to move there next month. And yeah, about myself, I'm currently applying to PhDs for next year, a bit all around the world, trying to see where the grass is greener, trying to understand like a bit what are the opportunities that could present for a young student like me, who's definitely willing to move around and discover a bit about the world, even though COVID is making things pretty difficult at the moment. But we hope that next year it's going to be better. Great. Okay, so enough said about me. Now I would like basically to mention about the objectives of today's assembly. So as I mentioned before, the first important thing is to, of course, to introduce all the newcomers, what are the goals of the association, the current activities that we hold, and basically why we exist, and why we do think that there is a case to make for a student association to exist at EPFL. So this is a first a first batch, and then we'll go into more administrative stuff related to the association. So for those who are past the presentation, we'll definitely make more announcement about, okay, what kind of roles we are looking for within the association, and finally electing the members of our committee to hold on the next events. Great. Okay, so what is the Quantum Computing Association? So if I had to define it very briefly, it's an independent student association. So we are recognized by EPFL, but we are not under any supervision of academic or company-based research project. We are really a bunch of motivated master, bachelor students, PhD students, like willing to get acquainted to quantum computing and quantum technologies overall. So we have very diverse backgrounds. And we realized that in EPFL right now, we have growing opportunities going into this field, but which are not yet very well communicated to students. And so we hope to create some kind of bridge between the students that are that should be able to grasp a bit what are the takes of quantum revolution for quantum computing and other quantum sensing technologies. And finally make them aware of what could happen in the future and how EPFL could place itself forefront of the research that could be happening in Switzerland. So the question that comes a lot is, okay, but why is there a student association for such a matter? Because usually quantum computing is very much related to research, especially because now we are in a point where we have only a few companies or departments that work on these questions. So why bring the students into this game, and why in this form? So it came basically from two different realizations. The first one was that EPFL is a great place to study quantum technologies and quantum computing. Definitely, we are in one of the best universities in the world, and we acknowledge that we have a potential of forming future quantum engineers that could be that could provide a great support for the next years to come. But still, we realized that this research world was kind of out of the grasp of many students. And to be more specific about it, like students were working on quantum computation on very different levels and from different departments, but without knowing one another. So making this first realization will have concluded to this effort of creating a student association, where we basically create a community which gathers a lot of people from different backgrounds, whether it's physics, computer science, material engineering, what else could I be thinking about, microengineering, whatever the department is, really to bring closer all the people that work towards building some quantum technologies and understand what could be leverage around these technologies for the future. And again, we also aim for the student association to be less informal and a much better place, maybe a suitable place for students to take the lead and to take initiatives upon themselves and to really distinguish themselves from the research by doing some benevolent work and also involving themselves into initiatives that do contribute to the promotion and again creating a community. So brief reminders of course, this is not exhaustive list, but to tell you a bit about what we've been doing before and during COVID. So we are very young, by the way. We started our activities on September 2019. So we are very, very young association. We are still trying to find our place, in the EPFL administration, how we can find a way to connect the dots between all the different components, whichever they are, academic, industrial, and also, of course, the student organs for associations at EPFL. Few events that went through. One of the most successful ones was definitely the quantum computing hands-on workshop, which was a quantum programming workshop. The idea was basically to introduce the basics of how to do quantum programs and what are the basics of quantum computation. So this welcomed a lot of people, 300 actually. Our main basis was understanding, okay, how we can program using Qiskit and the IBM-Q framework. So as you may know, IBM is strongly involved into the development of quantum computers, and they also involve themselves a lot, especially in Switzerland, because of IBM Zurich, of course, to the development of a community of their own. So regarding that technology and their software. So this is definitely something we would like to inspire ourselves from to do more events like that. Of course, there are also a bunch of opportunities that gather themselves in Switzerland, quantum hackathons notably, but which are the most accessible ones for students, but also summer schools and seminars that go around Geneva, Zurich, Lausanne, of course, and maybe other places that we might find out later on. Finally, of course, in the effort to advocate about what is quantum computing and quantum technologies overall. We try to invite as much as possible people that are, of course, very well known for the contribution to the industry and to the advance of this research. We have, of course, a lot of those people here at EPFL, which is a great chance for us because it's very easy to talk with, to reach out with these people. We just have to know where they are, and this is exactly what we aim to do. But also trying to reach people from other universities, other companies, Google, MIT, which are, of course, big brand names, but which eventually suscitate a lot of questions. And we hope that we can try to reach them out to make sure that the students understand, okay, what are the roles of the companies, what are the roles of the academy towards this field, and what it could mean concretely for students that are willing to dive themselves to dive into the quantum computing framework. Finally, the semester projects, which are, I think, crucial for me. We also have a goal of educating people and trying to build a quantum workforce on our own. So around original projects that I think we never encountered before. So this is what we did last year, and we intend to keep on this year with another great project that I will introduce later on. But one of the notable projects that we are very proud of last year was the Entangled Encoding project, which is a programming project that was tackled by a bunch of our members. And the idea was to bring basically a board game that was developed by IBM to an online version. And we hope that we can prepare some kind of very soon a game night using this programming project, introducing the very basics of quantum computation in a very fun way. We hope to bring that to you soon. And finally, the Research Club initiative was a series of seminars done in the frame of the association, organized by students, for students. So very introductory talks here about quantum algorithms. What are they good for? How can we characterize them, and understanding all the basics. This has been very profitable to build a common, ground for all the students that arrived in our association, which again, I said, come from very different backgrounds. And so we hope to keep going into this effort of educating people by bringing new projects, new initiatives, and new presentations along the way. Few numbers just to tell you about how far we've come in 1 year and a half. We started very small. We were maybe less than 10 people into in the association. We now today have more than 500 subscribers on our mailing list. We have now a dedicated Slack channel where we post all the kinds of contents that are related to our activities, research, and also all kinds of communications regarding, the news in the quantum community. We have now 110 students and also professors, which are really great resource, of course, to ask questions. So this is a great opportunity for people and students to reach out and create another community of their own, which is much more informal and kind of breaking down the ice between maybe sometimes the academic heavy load of work. And finally, the committee members. So I think we are today about 15, 17, if I'm not mistaken, which come from very, very different departments. As I mentioned before, physics, computer science, material engineering, microengineering. What else we have? We might have even life science, and the sixth one is escaping me right now, but I'm sure the ones that are aware of this will remember. Great.
Sorry, Arthur. May I say one thing?
Yes. Sure.
Just to reinforce your statement here. I mean, currently you are the only quantum computing, not only quantum computing, but more generally, you are the only quantum science initiative at EPFL, still now.
Right. Yes. So of course we hope that it will change.
We are trying to solve this problem, but for the moment you are the only quantum science initiative at EPFL.
Right.
And by the way, there are no departments at EPFL. They are forbidden. There are institutes and schools.
Right.
Called the faculté en français.
Exactly. No, yeah, and so this comes also from the realization to bring students closer to the people, to these research people who have a well-established institute, but sometimes do not manage to bring the same transparency of what are the opportunities for students. And so, as I said, breaking the ice is critical for us, and I think this has been profitable for past students that left already our association, but also for future students that come in, we hope that this will be a great opportunity for them to take the leap into this field and to bring it in very different backgrounds. Great, thank you very much for the intervention, Professor. Now I come to the objectives that we fixed not so long ago. Actually, we really thought about, okay, what we want to do in a very short amount of time, because we know that COVID is impacting all our way, of course, to work, to approach, of course, the life on campus and communicating with people. So we tried really to settle for 4 objectives. Which I think are all addressable regardless of the background that we approach in. So this is really the 4 ones. So the first one is, I mentioned before, educating. This is really important for us because we understand that there are a lot of courses offered at EPFL, but sometimes they are very much far apart. We have very strong theoretical physics courses that are available, for example, at the master level, or we have also computer science courses. The idea would be, in the end, to like gather all those courses, all those resources, amazing resources that we have at EPFL regarding quantum technologies and quantum computing, and bring them to the people as in a more accessible way, and to make sure that they can build a coherent ensemble of this knowledge. The visibility is also crucial for us. Why is that? For 2 reasons. The first one is, of course, if we gain visibility, we can better promote what is quantum computing, and we can expand our range of activities and opportunities for students. And of course, the visibility offered to the students that participate and commit themselves to the association is also critical, because we want quantum engineers, we want quantum researchers that are aware of what's happening in their surroundings. And to do this effort, we really need people to see what we are doing, and so that people will also be able to say, okay, well, EPFL is a very great place to study quantum. And I think for the students, it's very profitable. And again, as you mentioned, Professor, we are very few of launching a student initiative on this quantum science. Even in the ETH Zurich, for example, there is, of course, lots of possible courseworks and masters and everything, but there is no student initiative, so to speak. So we are really proud about starting this initiative from the ground and involving the students at the core of this, and hopefully, of course, bringing more cooperation with the academics and the institutes. The sustainability, so also a challenge we faced, and of course COVID did not help in that, is that, of course, since we are a student association and all the work we do is benevolent, it's sometimes, of course, harder to motivate people and motivate the troops to commit themselves for a long time. And we understand that, because of course the life expectancy, I would say, as a student in EPFL, especially when you're in master, is like 1 or 2 years. So it's not a lot, but we have to make do with that. So what we really want to do this year is trying to build the very strong grounds that will strengthen the bonds between the association members, so that really we can create this network and make sure that for the years to come, all the new students will arrive in a very well-established structure, in the sense that they will really find very quickly what they're looking for inside the association. So for me, one of the biggest goals is really this one, because it really showcases the need for us to build strong grounds and strong motivation. And as we show to people that we are motivated to build such initiatives, it will definitely encourage even more people to follow our lead and to commit themselves for greater projects. And finally, the expansion, but this comes a bit as a consequence, right, of all the 3 I mentioned before. But again, we know that we have a lot of people to reach out to really know what the field is about, what quantum technologies is about. Especially in Switzerland, we are in a huge hub for discovering this kind of quantum technologies. So relationships and partnership with all possible parties that we can imagine, the quantum industry, the research, the cooperation, and the institute also, where we really aim to create this bridge with all the rest of the world. And Switzerland, of course, has been a major place of research for this already. And hopefully, if we can elaborate more about the students' involvement into that, we will be pretty happy with the results. Now coming back to our more groundwork by the association. So we had lots of difficulties to stand our ground, as I was mentioning. On the administrative side and the financial side, we were pretty much on our own. The reason for this is that since we're strongly motivated by independence, it was kind of unclear for both, you know, the desk of associations at EPFL to recognize us as a full independent entity, and also by the institutes. So we had to find this ground where we can say, okay, well, we need to be independent, but at the same time, we have to find some resources so we can make sure that our activities can be supported on a longer term. Of course, with COVID, everything got very simplified because not many costs were involved while preparing our activities. Everything was online. So preparing a talk, preparing a presentation, or inviting someone is really, really easier than before. But of course, we hope that we will not spend our entire life on Zoom, and that we definitely want to keep going with activities on campus again. And so we might need to ask for further sponsorship, both from the institutes, maybe from industrial partners, and the desk of associations at PFL, which is currently the only source of revenue is AGEPOLI, who just granted us 1,000 francs just to support all the costs that are inherent, you know, to the maintaining of the administration of the association. So banking accounts, all that kind of stuff. And of course, the past projects that we elaborated, which were much more ambitious because, of course, of the ability to do this on campus, was paid actually by was advanced by members of the association. And so we were kind of a situation where we had to find a solution to reimburse themselves, because they had put a lot of money to make this association rise from kind of nothing. And we are really grateful to them for having done this effort. And now we have found finally a solution, which is very recent. We'll be able to take a loan to AGEPOLI and for the following amount, and make sure that those people will be reimbursed, and that the association will be able to reimburse in the futures by engaging even more events. Of course, there is no interest rate to the loan. AGEPOLI gives us, takes back the debt of the people we owe some money. And we, of course, hope in the future to be able to reimburse this debt on top of the events that we'll be covering in the future. Any questions so far? Maybe now is a good point to stop for members or other questions. Okay, no, not quite. So let's keep on. Now, okay.
Wait.
Yes, sure.
I think that I mean, I don't want to commit, not even for other members of other colleagues, but I mean, when these initiatives, of course, especially when you invite people to give talks, do these workshops and so on, I mean, these are very interesting. I think that at least my lab and the labs of my colleagues that work in the area, in the broader area of quantum computing, would be interested also in participating to the costs, if the costs can be justified in the context of the costs that are typically incurred in one laboratory. I mean, if you want to organize a quantum party, I can't pay for that.
Yes.
But if you invite somebody to give a talk, mm-hmm. I would be more than happy to pay the hotel or the trip, these kind of things. If you don't have money left, so it's a sort of guarantee. Yes. They call it a guaranteed deficit. Mm-hmm. And I think, like me, the same is true for the moment. There is Giuseppe Carleo. By the way, Giuseppe should be contacted because he should be fully aware of what you do. I'm sorry that I didn't do this before, but I was very busy. But I'm in touch with him every day, and he should be in some way involved in the activities of the association. Okay.
Yeah, so there is a huge work in progress, you know, contacting the labs and contacting the professors, of course, to encourage them to involve themselves into the initiative, because, of course, we know that a lot of people are interested, and it's not always easy, especially these days, because everyone has a lot of deadlines and occupations on the side. But again, in fact, for all these events, we have pretty much like strong grounds, as you mentioned, like for the institute, for example, even the Physics Institute is ready to support a good part of the cost that might be related to inviting people for talks, for a set of conferences that could benefit both, of course, the association and the Physics Institute, for example. It is the same for the computer science. But regarding the spirit where we put ourselves, like building this community and all these efforts which come with more, you know, informal meetings that that come around, like, I don't know, student events where we could invite with food, with beverages, etc. We really need to have a ground for to convince people from AGEPOLY maybe, or the desk of association to assimilate us as a student association, really, which has been difficult in the past because we really made a strong focus, of course, because we wanted really to get noticed in the beginning on the research side. So a lot of talks were done, presentations, amazing presentations were done on campus, but the students were not as much committing on the longer projects. But if you want now to build this stronger commitment on projects for a longer term, we really need to have funds of our own. I don't think we need a lot of money, but in the future, where we'll want to hold even more opportunities and resources, we should make sure that we have some kind of sponsors available. And also maybe we should think about contacting the industry. For now, all of these questions have been kind of suspended because of COVID situation. But it should go back as soon as we have a vision of proposing actual projects coming on campus, and one of them will be the Quantum Hackathon that we hope to pursue, and I will present it in a second. So the Hackathon project is really critical because it might be, first of all, it is the ground on which AGEPOLY agreed to give us this money. So we really want to make this Hackathon happen. Obviously, the target would be to do it on campus, but since we have no guarantee whatsoever to do it on campus, we are also thinking about doing it online, which could also be an option. But anyway, so this is those kind of activities, really more students related, really need to get some kind of independent funding. And of course, we are already discussed that in the past with of course research groups, but also the institutes, that not all the costs can be covered, and so we have to think clearly about that, how we can sustain the situation in the future. Great. Okay, so now to tell you a bit more about concretely, so for all the students that are here today, what is coming up next. So you might, so if you heard about this this meeting, of course, you might have seen all the events introduced in the presentation email of the association, which came out to all the EPFL community, if I'm not mistaken. I will start first to mention about the talks. These talks are all coming from EPFL students, actually, or postdocs, for example. So next week, April 1st at 5 p.m., we will have a master student in the physics department who will talk to us about a paper he just wrote with Professor Dupertuis and forgot the name of the second person who was involved in the project. But anyway, so
Nicolas Macris.
I don't know if he wrote the paper. I think it was someone from Mirex, Clément.
No, it's Clément Javazac Gelino.
C'est ça. Yeah. That's it, exactly. Yeah, thank you very much, Willy. So he made a very interesting paper with an actual implementation on Qiskit for testing wave particle duality and entanglement. So this promises to be very, very interesting. And we also have, as a second presentation coming just after this presentation, Creative Destruction Lab, which is a venture capital, and I will talk about it a bit more later, but which is a Canadian venture capital, which basically dedicates itself to promoting the initiatives among both the students and, of course, in the industry to leverage initiatives for startups, basically. And they have a full dedicated stream to quantum technologies. With a lot of professors coming essentially from Waterloo University or some other universities in the US. They're doing a tremendous job to give this accessible, and we are super happy to be able to cooperate with them on this event. And they agreed to make a quick presentation of what they will be doing in July, which is a quantum boot camp, which relies on both technical and business training on how basically to leverage the power of quantum technologies. I had the chance to participate to it in last July. So this is in the summer, by the way, so it will most likely be held online again. If not, it might be in Canada. So for those who are interested, I will give you the reference to participate to this bootcamp, and they will eventually present it to us next week. Another presentation, which I'm really, really enthusiastic on, is the presentation of Savannah, who will talk to us about the variational quantum algorithms for quantum simulations. So variational quantum algorithm is a really cool topic, according to me, at least. I'm working on that a lot lot these days. And I think those are basically, those algorithms are the best candidates we have for demonstrating kind of useful, what they call useful quantum supremacy. So showing that we can reach quantum advantage on problems that are of interest for simulations of physical systems or optimization problems. So the teams at Google, Microsoft, IBM are all working on those topics as well to showcase the performance of their devices. And so this topic and seeing that at EPFL some such algorithm has been developed is really, really interesting. And so we shall discover it more about the end of April. And finally, so the date has not been set yet, but we will host Matthias Soken, who basically works in Microsoft Quantum, to introduce us again a new programming workshop, which is kind of similar to what we did, I think a year and a half ago on Qiskit, but this time on another platform, which is Q#, which is the quantum language developed by Microsoft for quantum computation. Yeah, and now about the two other initiatives, which I'm pretty enthusiastic on. So the first one is the Quantum Global Public Goods Project. So this project has already started 2 weeks ago. So it came up on a realization that I had while participating at 2 previous hackathons last year. This public goods project aims to basically create a bridge between the notions of quantum information and quantum entanglement, more specifically, and applications to this theory to the theory of game and economics. So there is a huge, of course, mathematical framework related to game theory and its prospections in the application in economics and decision making. And basically, I thought this was a novel approach and interesting thing to build up as a semester project for the association, to try to build some kind of grounds for understanding what is quantum entanglement, how can we use maybe quantum algorithms to solve this global public goods project, which is so basically for those who are maybe not aware of what a global public good is, a public good is considered as a good which is not excludable and not exchangeable. So for example, when you have to share a common resource, let's say you want all the countries to commit themselves to reduce carbon emissions to avoid climate change, you would like to find some binding agreements that will make the countries commit to the idea of reducing the carbon emissions. But of course, this comes at a price, because of course lowering your level of carbon emissions is also highly closely related to the fact that you're willing to reduce the level of development or the rate of development of your country. So there is kind of a trade-off to be established, and of course the decisions of one do have an impact on, of course, the welfare of the others. And so everything in this theory is embedded into a framework of game theory, and which is basically an extension of the prisoner's dilemma. And so this is what we are investigating right now, is how we can leverage quantum strategies. So instead of having like usual classical strategies of cooperating or defect, maybe can we use a bit more degree of freedom by adding some quantum weirdness into this, by encoding the strategies onto qubits and entangling the qubits. So this is a really, really interesting project, and I hope we'll make a lot of progress in the following weeks. We already had 2 amazing presentations which are available on our YouTube channel. For those who are interested, we have a YouTube channel where you can find this presentation, which are dealing with entanglement and game theory. And so in the following weeks, we'll try to mix up all those notions together to form to eventually come around this notion of quantum global public goods, and think about something concrete to implement, maybe as a use case, as a proof of concept, basically, on an IBM machine. And finally, last project, the hackathon, as I said before, which is clearly the most ambitious project we might have, and we really need a good team, a strong, motivated team to organize this project. We have the chance to have a lot of support from experts from IBM, CDL, and others who have experience into the field of creating and generating hackathons. So creating a community is what they do. So we really want their help to do something EPFL SOS in the sense that we really think that it could be really, really interesting for EPFL students, from all backgrounds to discover around maybe 1 or 2 days hackathon to leverage all the knowledge that we acquire with the projects that are ongoing under the year to something really concrete, which could bring to really interesting stuff. Other quantum related events. I mentioned a bunch of those. So I would like, of course, to thank Professor Eduardo Chabon, who is with us today and made the advertisement for the following event, which is, I think, really awesome to have in Switzerland again, having John Martinez to speak. So John Martinez, for those who are not aware, was one of the lead scientists in the Google quantum team. He was basically one of the scientists who proved the first quantum supremacy experiments, and of course his work on superconducting qubits is clearly essential for the future research. And so we hope that we can invite all the students in the association to participate to this workshop, which will be virtual, so which will be pretty easy to do. And we'll give you more info as soon as we got some. As I was mentioning in the beginning, also there is a bunch of seminars happening next week in the physics department. Basically, there are a bunch of presentations on very different topics, which are much more hardware related. But for those who are interested, I can provide you the links, the Zoom links for this presentation. And finally, a quantum computing summer school that will happen here at EPFL. It's not clear yet if it's going to be on campus or not, but really leveraging hardware and software into one week of school. PhD students can even get credits for this. So I really encourage you to apply for the summer school and to participate. This could really be a great opportunity. Great. Now, okay, I'm done basically with presenting the association. So I think I will stop for a second there because now we are entering into the second part of the, which is the more administrative part. So for maybe all the people that wanted to know about the association, I think the next part is going to be of less interest if you are not interested to join formally, the committee members and to join the association in these projects. So maybe are there questions regarding our activities? So let me cut the share for a second so I can see you guys. Are there questions on what we do, what are the next objectives, something that was unclear, anything? No. Okay. So either I've been perfectly clear or I lost you all, guys. It's it's one or the other. Hopefully, it will be the first one. Well, anyway, please don't hesitate to ask questions if along the way. So as I said, like now the second part, which will be much more like administrative based for our association. So on a first glance, so I see we have 25 participants, so which is awesome and much more than what we had last time. So we have, of course, a bunch of our current committee members. On the new ones, would you all be interested into joining the associations, into committing into one of the projects that I presented before? If you can just raise your hand, so I just can see who might be interested into that. You can do it like physically or in the Zoom, via the Zoom option, as you like. Cool. So I see a bunch of raised hands. Awesome. What about those? Yeah. Okay. Great. I see that those who have not raised the camera up. Okay. 5 participants. Great. That's cool. Yeah. So now, okay, but great. This is really encouraging because now I will present you basically what we are trying to achieve based on the objectives I presented before, which are related to increasing the visibility, organizing events, organizing the projects as well. So depending on your expectations, guys, it will all be about what you want to do, basically what you want to do into the association, and trying to find some kind of match between what we need to increase our visibility and what you expect. So since we are not too many, I think it might be useful. Okay, could you put in the chat for all of those who raised their hand to just put maybe quickly your background and what you would like to do among among the projects I proposed earlier. Like, is there one in particular that sounded more interesting than the other for you? I'd be really really glad. You can even unmute yourself, for example. It will be less formal in this way, but since we are 22, it might be a long shot.
Of course, we're not asking you to decide right now, but just to have an idea. Right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, thank you for clarifying this. Yes, it does not engage you in any way. Just to imagine a bit, like, okay, how can we frame? Because today the idea of the General Assembly is also to communicate, because we have responsibilities vis-a-vis of the EPFL administration, the desk of associations, to let them know of everything that we of course decided during the General Assembly, and this comes by of course including new members, and so we have to assign them some kind of responsibilities and letting them know what we are doing, essentially, because it is the deal for being recognized, still being recognized by EPFL. So yeah, if you, I will now put the different teams that we have put in place so far, and with this we can set the grounds for further discussion. Yes, it should work. Yes, okay. So for now, we have established 3 main teams. So the first one, which I think is critical, and essentially because now most of the members of the communication team have left because either they finished their studies or they are doing other stuff. We really are in need for a strong communication team, which would be in charge of what? Basically sharing everything that we do and everything that we don't do, but just want to advocate and promote the quantum research at EPFL and elsewhere. So we need people that handle emails, social media, all that stuff. Because personally, this is the thing I find the most difficult, in the sense that it requires a lot of commitment on a very regular basis. So on the same time, I think it can be a great opportunity for those who are beginning into the quantum computing field, because it allows you to identify, okay, what are the actors in the outside and of course in the inside of the association, but it can allow you to build this prospection of, okay, what's actually going on. So if you're not too technical and you would like to keep it simple at the beginning and not spend too much of your time, because of course the activities related to communications are much less involved in terms of research and preparation than the rest. But still, it's a key issue in our association to build this communication team, so we can make sure that everything is is being addressed to the right people, right? So okay, let me know, guys, if you some of you are interested in to reach the communication team. We might need at least 4 people for this job. So we really encourage you to join this team. And by the way, joining a team does not mean that you cannot participate in others' team, right? But it's basically when we assign you a responsibility, this will be the kind of official title we'll give you with respect to the EPFL administration, and also this is where we'll expect you to be the most active. And the 2 other teams are what we called, not very originally, by the way, we should definitely find another name, but the projects and events team. Let me explain you very quickly the difference. The events team would be, if we come back to what we just discussed with Professor Savannah before, would be relating to invitations and secondary talks, conference, and all kinds of events related to research and making advertisements, promotion, and really reinforcing the visibility of research at EPFL regarding quantum technologies. So we need people to handle the logistics behind this, especially when we are on campus, which goes from room booking, maybe camera recording, all that stuff. We need a bunch of people, and I can explain to you in much details what it involves. It also allows you to get in touch with the people that you are inviting. So it can be also a great way to be networking, as well as the communication team on other channels, of course. But it can also be a nice way to interact with people from the industry, from the research world. So this could be really interesting. The projects team, on the other hand, focuses on all the projects which are more internal to the association. So again, we want to provide value to those who are committing, of course, to the association. So we want to provide some kind of exclusive content to association members in the sense of course, education, resources, materials. So all of those who are willing to join on the Slack channel and commit themselves to help us develop the activities of the association, we want them to feel rewarded and see that the commitment is not being like for nothing, because it's not because we are not being paid that you cannot be recognized for anything. So the project team is really in charge of investigating very nice research projects that can actually leverage all the knowledge that we have, benefiting for all the resources, PhD students, master students, professors, which are involved into the association. So we can ask them for much more, close relationships for building strong knowledge of quantum computation. And basically, the Quantum Global Public Goods Project is the project we fixed this semester for doing this. But we are always open to do more projects if there are, of course, enough people that are motivated. For now, we've been losing more people that we have welcomed people. So I hope with today it will change. So it will be really great to have even more people involved in the projects team to propose new initiatives that might be interesting. Great. So those are the three main teams. Let me know if the roles were unclear in some way. I could precise it in a second. Let me see. Yes, among the projects that could be, projects and events that could be, that we have in our pipeline. So we need people to organize them as well. Those are summarized here. So, for example, maybe Alex, you could talk a bit about the Quantum Computing Corporation, the open source content, especially because I think this is the one that is the least known by our members right now. So, if you can speak maybe a few words about this, it would be great.
Sure. Yeah, so we do actually have a GitHub, which is pretty exciting. It's just, I feel like it has also been kind of like a lot of projects been neglected, at least other than the game that was developed by some very motivated people. Maybe we can actually hear about that in a moment as well. But yeah, so if anybody, I guess everybody will get an invitation to Slack as well. And we kind of like did that after the last General Assembly as well. If you could just, I'm probably going to put a message in there to just give me your GitHub username. And then I'll be able to invite you to the EPFL team. If I'd actually just, maybe I could even fire it up just for a second. I'm going to have that here. The cool thing about it is we're connected to other universities as well. So I have, it's not just EPFL only, but I try to also like kind of like push connections like over from the US. We have a couple of MIT people, Harvard people on there. But just it's pretty stale. So if somebody wants to like take an initiative on there to really, at the end of the day, every platform, every repository lives from being actively maintained. So that would be really great. If also like from EPFL's side, kind of like you just mentioned, Arto, to have like member exclusive content, it would be an excellent way for us to work, and whatever is like really good and what we have there, we could actually publish and once again, then also make available to others, kind of like fostering the whole open source spirit. In terms of the collaboration, yes, I'm also part of the Harvard Quantum Computing Association over there. Actually, Phil, who was there at the last General Assembly, he has just been elected over at their General Assembly as the new president of the club. So it's actually kind of cool because back then he was just a member there. He's now actually heading the club over there. So I'm sure we could, if that's of interest, to also like hear from his research. He's at the intersection, by the way, of also with neuroscience, and he's currently just trying to explore if there are any applications basically for MRI imaging. We could definitely organize a talk also there. Since I'm also a person in charge of something external, if basically just, I guess I just have to work with your schedule because I'm not that aware anymore because I don't have like actively exams and all of that. Mm-hmm. But I'd be happy to help facilitate that, set that up with Phil, and we could surely organize, maybe not even Phil, but a couple of people there to like have like a small exchange. Maybe we could have a panel, maybe we could have a presentation. What I'd really just need, I guess, in terms of expectations is just somebody of you who's currently joining here from the, what is it? It's only 18 people left. But yeah, just contact me once you're on the Slack. And if there's an initiative there, we're going to set that up. We're going to like distribute it also over the mailing lists. So we have like still access to that. We have our MailChimp. So that would be really, really cool. And so, yeah, that was basically the whole idea behind the quantum computing collaboration, also to bring then not only kind of like use the EPFL Harvard, but also add other universities as kind of like quantum computing associations kind of like get built by other university students at other universities. So if you know that there is something new, something going on, like also let me know, and we're going to try to connect that, set that up on our GitHub, but kind of like foster that exchange. Actually, Alex Fernandez, who can't be here today because he's actually writing an exam currently. He's actually reached out to me because he's in contact with a research group over at ENS. And so I'm going to work with him if obviously that is of interest, I guess, also to the other members of the board, I guess, to maybe set up something there, at least to present ourselves as the Quantum Computing Association of EPFL. I think it would be really good for us also, since we're still looking for money and currently are just like getting loans or kind of like smaller sums. If we can kind of like get the word out more there, like build a footprint also externally, to basically like get more exposure, which once again is also going to help us locally at the campus to attract more students on the one hand, but also I think we have like a bigger motive as Quantum Computing Association of EPFL here, also to fascinate students from all sections at EPFL for kind of like everything amazing that quantum computing itself has to offer. And potentially, I guess, also like for getting on great terms with the faculty, maybe even convincing students to later pursue well, research in the field, maybe joining labs for like bachelor thesis, master thesis, or at least participating in the classes, or maybe because of something that you get excited and passionate about now during your bachelor studies, you eventually decide someday to pursue a PhD in that field, which, for instance, Samuel, who I started the association with, is doing currently. And so, yeah, I think we've done some really cool stuff, and I'm also excited. Thanks for letting me share a couple of things here, Arthur. And if there are any questions, I'd actually be happy to answer if you have more questions about, hey, how does this actually all work? Who are we all connected with? We could either do that now in short, or we could also do that on Slack or in a separate meeting.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. I should also mention that for the GitHub, and I always encourage people to do that as soon as you, because a lot of people here are working on quantum initiatives on their own, on quantum projects. Don't hesitate to share it on the GitHub, because it helps you and both the association to get visibility, because of course, all the content you produce in the frame of academy, usually when it's a master project, for example, you kind of let it on the run, you pass your exam with it, or you pass your, your knowledge, but it can actually be a great resource for all the students that will do the same thing in a few years. So all the resources are really good to have on a repo, and I think this GitHub could be a really nice repository for all the EPFL students that are willing to commit quantum initiatives. And also it gets you visibility, because you are really demonstrating on an open source framework that you are actually working in the field, working on something concrete, implementations, presentation, research, whatever you have to share. So I definitely encourage you to reach out to Alex and send it over.
Do you actually want me to just share the screen for a second to just like show what the repo is like?
Sure, absolutely.
Do that just for a second. So basically it's like quantum computing collaboration. We've got a couple of repositories. Once we have the Entangled game, which is actually very cool, where Ahmed and Aman actually worked a lot on it. Next up, well, we have some notes, not that interesting. We had the quantum computing curriculum, which is currently something that is private because it's now developed by TCS, actually in collaboration with IBM. Maybe Aman, also you have something there, or like we could actually like continue a work that we had previously with them and like kind of like foster that collaboration. We have a couple of tutorials up on there, and we actually maintain there the course notes for the MIT Intro to Quantum Computing class there, which is, by the way, an excellent class if you don't really want to wait, especially if you're early stage of your bachelor. You don't want to wait for kind of like the intro classes for quantum information and quantum communication. You can actually check that out here. It's a dedicated quantum computing class, and you have like awesome course notes there. And we're quite a lot of people, 22 people on there.
Alexander, can you share this links? Yeah,
I'm gonna put that into the Zoom chat if that's okay with everybody. And yeah, it's a quantum computing cooperation on GitHub.
Great.
I hope that helps. I'm not sure if there's actually like a button to request to join. That would be pretty cool. Then I don't have to like invite everybody manually, but I'm not sure if.
I don't know if this, maybe there is an option on the.
No, I think I have to like invite people. It's kind of like GitHub never saw that, and like Microsoft didn't implement it.
But they cannot access even for the pull request or something like this. They can
so you can access. So all of the repositories, like basically like 95% of the repositories are public, except for one that we cannot, like we had to make private. Everything is like also like publicly accessible, but if you want to contribute or like just actually like be part of it, like, which once again kind of like helps in general the exposure for the whole organization and also the repositories, I'd really be happy if you'd all send me like your GitHubs. You can even do that now in the Zoom chat, and I'm gonna add you right away. And yeah, like this, you'd actually be able to contribute kind of like to that small open source collection of things carried together from different universities. Let's put it like that.
And now has never been a greater time to do that, because everything being still online for a good moment, especially in Switzerland, I think. This is really a great initiative.
Yeah, and in terms of collaborations, it's really awesome. So like all of our group meetings, especially in the US, they're still held virtually. So like if you actually like feel like contributing there, or just like kind of like maybe want to like get some exposure there, like try something, it's an excellent time really maybe to like be invited to course meet, to like a research meeting or a group meeting. That's definitely like something cool if you're excited about that.
Awesome. Great. Okay, so moving forward. So first of all, we'll do the easiest thing in the General Assembly. We have one resignation to announce, unfortunately. So Willy, who is here with us today, has moved away like very recently to do his PhD in Ireland, in Dublin. He's beginning. So if you can even introduce yourself, Willy, like so people are know what you're doing now right now.
Yeah, sure. So I finished my PhD, my master's degree at EPFL. I moved to Dublin in Ireland, and I find like to start properly my PhD. I will resign from my position here in the association. But I mean, I will obviously take part of some events or anything that is online, for obvious reasons, So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Yeah. So in the light of this event, like okay, we have he decided to resign, and so we basically have to do something which is kind of really weird when you're not from the association framework, but we have to vote to accept his resignation. So actually, even people who are not part of the committee members can like actually raise their hand. Like, I still haven't understood fully like the concept of it, but okay, let's just accept the resignation. So who votes for accepting the resignation of Willy? Like, you just have to raise your hand and like, okay, this is done. Okay, so this will be registered anyway. Cool. Yeah, this is really weird. Sorry for that, guys, but we have to do this. At least it's gonna.
Yeah, I'm forced to stay now. I'm forced to stay. Like I haven't seen many hands.
Yeah, didn't you count the hands? Did you?
No.
So we got your way out. Okay, so I think this was the only resignation we had to deal with. Now the nicer part arrives where we introduce new members. So this is the most exciting part. So I guess that for all of those who stayed until now, for the new for the guys we see for the first time, you are interested to join this association. So maybe, okay, now we are not so many, so we can proceed to presentations of the new members. Let me start by the order of where I see them. So Justin, do you want to present yourself?
Sure, yes. So hello everyone, I'm Justin, or Justin as you prefer in French. I'm from the computer science department. I've little experience, I must say, in quantum technology. When I had the opportunity to take the classes, I must say I didn't hear about it much, so I did not consider it was something very, very interesting. But yeah, lately I've heard a lot about a lot of breakthroughs that were discovered in the last year or so, and so it interested me a lot. So when I received your email, I thought it was a good opportunity to join.
Sure, you did very well. So this was kind of the first time you heard very recently about quantum computing. Then
yeah.
Okay, you were not familiar. So great, we are super happy to have brought back someone from nowhere. Cool, awesome. Daniele, you want to present yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes, very good.
Okay, perfect. So first of all, hello everyone. I'm Daniele. I'm from physics. I'm studying physics here at the EPFL. I'm a master student, and I would say I am a beginner in quantum computing. I maybe have a little background because I'm currently following the course of Professor Brantut on quantum information, but not much more beside that. So I'm a real beginner. And yes, I'm really interested in the Quantum Computing Association. I just have one doubt because I'm not sure where I could fit in the association since I'm a real beginner, and also obviously how much time would it require? Because I mean, as you all know, we have a lot of exams and other stuff to do, so it's obviously something I need to take into account also. That.
Of course. So great question. So first of all, so since you're a physicist, let me add let me make a small ad for Professor Savannah's course on quantum computing. So you'll definitely be interested to know that Professor Savannah has launched this year what was a doctoral course, but I think it should pass to a master course for next semester. So not spring semester, but
so it's given officially both at the doctoral and at the second year of master. I'm hoping to pass it at the first year. Currently, the Service Academic was mistaken in reading the course file and decided the course was not given on 14 weeks, which actually is. You took it, so they were mistaken. But I hope this course will be offered also at the first year master. But of course, you're all welcome to join. And the difference between with the course that is given in quantum information in computer science, which many years ago I contributed to start together with Nicola Macris. I taught the first semester of their course for 4 years. The difference that this course is more advanced. It touches topics like quantum error correction and hybrid quantum classical variational algorithms. And it has projects for the final assessment. And at the same time, it is meant for, I mean, this is a bit of utopia, but I give actually a lecture on the essential quantum mechanics you need to understand quantum computing. So hopefully this could be a course also for people who don't have a basis in quantum mechanics. Of course, it's tight, it's very tight, this thing, but it's technically possible. And Arthur was there, so I hope
yeah, I can
he can vouch for me.
I can really confirm it. Like you do not need so much background in quantum mechanics. Of course, what I think that you will do eventually is like take a course notes of quantum mechanics after you hear about the first weeks of the course, like for yourself. But it's actually not required to follow the course. And I think the pace was pretty accessible because the topics were weeks after weeks were like really, it's kind of self-contained in a way. Like it was really different topics that touch very different branches of quantum computation. Like working on the stabilizers and quantum error correction was not the same at all, of course, as working on variational quantum algorithms or Shor or Grover's algorithm. So it's a really a great overview for all students coming from all backgrounds to to take a glance of.
And by the way, this last term, it was given for the first time, but I was very careful in taking very complete notes, which may, if I find the time and a few students to typeset them, may be converted into a polycopier, the infamous polycopier. So there may even be a polycopier for this course. That's as an addition.
Great.
Thank you very much, Arthur.
No problem. And I should mention also, so Professor Charbon just let me know that there is going to be another course given in microengineering, which is going to be called Quantum and Nano Computing. Will this course be on the master level, or will it be on the doctoral level, Professor?
Yeah, that's going to be a master, but I think as usual, doctoral students can also take master classes, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, great, good to know. So we'll advertise all those courses. So will it be open in the next autumn semester?
Yes.
Great. So we'll make the advertisement.
And so Vincenzo's courses comes perfect as not a prerequisite, but certainly it will help a lot preparing the students for on the quantum physics side, and so they will be coming in the quantum information side, so they will come prepared to see the hardware from the hardware point of view.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's really great, and this is also a trajectory that we'd like, because we have a lot of experimental physicists in our association, and we'd really like them. So I think Fabio is here, so he can mention that we are also working on a trajectory to implement to teach basically on a very introductory basics, like the basics of quantum hardware on top of the software. We are also interested in leveraging what is quantum sensing technology and how it could be used for many different applications. So it's great that all those courses are coming up to go all together for all the future quantum engineers. And I think the holy grail for students in the end will be to have a very dedicated quantum coursework associated, like gathering all these courses. Maybe could it be already done into the frame of a minor? A minor in quantum computation or quantum technologies could be something really interesting to do at some point. Yeah, so this will be a.
Do you think that it would be of interest to have also a practical follow-up course where you actually do experiment, because doing experiments with the dilution bridge is very hard.
Yeah,
and it takes months and months and months of work. I think Vincenzo can attest to that. But I'm just wondering whether the practicum in dilution fridges, or in maybe not dilution fridges, just maybe 4 Kelvin fridges would be of interest or not. I don't know. I'm just asking.
I think it would be. So we would have to probe a bit the community, but what we envisioned before COVID was actually to organize in the Know Your Neighbor initiative. It was to make lab visits. For example, we had planned, for example, to visit the lab of Professor Brantu, who works in quantum gases and everything. So unfortunately, we could not do this visit eventually, but it'd be great to have the opportunity to meet, to really visit like all those places where the quantum technologies are being established. So I think it should be definitely relevant, and let me reach out to you again, maybe for a future discussion on that. Once we're more fixed on that, I will try to hurry up maybe on the integration, so that we can end up not like so lately. So we have like, I think 3 or 4 many people. Maximo, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, yeah. All good. Can you hear me fine?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I think like Justin, I got the email, and I'd been hearing a lot about quantum computing in general. So yeah, my background knowledge is there's not much at all, basically. So yeah, I think this would be for me an opportunity more than anything to learn about quantum computing, and as you say, also maybe help gain exposure for the association, because I think it's something that in the future will probably be getting bigger and bigger. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and I'm doing my master's in computational science.
You're in first year or second year?
I'm first year.
First year. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Auriel.
Hello. So I'm a master in physics at ETH, and I'm currently doing my master in quantum neural network, and I'm interested to join for helping to the hackathon and other research project. So I'm glad to be here.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so we're really excited to have you. So thank you very much, Professor Savannah. If you have to leave, like, thank you. It was really great to have you, and hopefully see you soon. Take care. Great. So I think we have 2 more remaining. We have Nada. Do you want to present yourself?
Yes, hello.
Hey.
So I'm physics master's student, and I'm also doing a minor in computational science and engineering. And so this is my first semester. And well, I'm beginner. I'm very interested, and well, I would like to learn more about quantum computing.
Awesome. Okay, lots of beginners, so it's really great. So I will answer. I will come back to your question, Daniele, once we finish the presentation tour, because it's of course relevant for everyone. We would end with Nino.
Yes, hello. My name is Nino, but I see that everybody is a master student, but I'm just a bachelor student, so I don't know if I can like.
Definitely, you're not the only one.
Okay. So maybe I can. I'm interested in the communication team, because I don't know. I have no knowledge about quantum computing, but yeah.
Great. In which master are you? You're in physics or in computer?
Bachelor.
Bachelor in in what?
Mathematics.
Mathematics.
Yeah.
Oh, great, fantastic. And Baptiste, if you want to present yourself.
Yeah, Baptiste, third year physics student, so bachelor, planning to pursue with a physics degree, and more precisely quantum sciences, and would be happy to help with the organization of the hackathon if possible.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's it. I'm motivated to help.
Wonderful. Great. So with those presentation going, so I will answer the very good question of Daniele. So the question, let me just rephrase it very quickly, was about, okay, how much time would you need, and what would be the best outcome when you are a beginner, what team to go in. So my guess is the communication team is always a good start for beginners. Why is that? It's because first of all, it's very useful, and you get to see a lot of content going on for the different platforms, especially. So we have, to tell you a bit of how we work currently, we have a LinkedIn page, Facebook page, Instagram page, and we have, of course, the mailing list, which is the primary communication mean, and LinkedIn. We hope that LinkedIn could be the outer connection with the rest of the rest of the world. And so how it works for now, we try to establish that at the first semester, and it worked quite well. We basically assigned one person per communication platform, and the idea was trying to for every member of the communication team to take upon himself to look for content that he would like to share with the rest. So let's say, for example, Daniele, you're interested into understanding how how to make a quantum key distribution protocol. In this case, you want to discover what's what. You take a primary resource that you found on the internet, and you basically share the resource and what you learned about this. So you summarize it into a very a small post about what you learned, and you post it on LinkedIn, on a mail, etc. And so the visibility that you get is that for all people that are beginners, because as you can see, there are a lot of them as at EPFL who are beginning. So all those efforts that you provide for yourself of learning, in the process of learning, you also share it with other members. And so it helps you like build this common understanding. And of course, by communicating with the rest of the teams, you also manage to get the insight about what the presentation is going to be about. You write the emails and the contents of, okay, what do I have to share? Have I understood the main principles? So I think this is a great way to start. And in terms of amount of commitments, so I'd say the only thing that is really required for any team, by the way, it's not so much about how much time you spend, it's about how reactive you are. So what we expect is like when someone tries to reach you out on the Slack, for example, to give an answer, like not right away. Of course, we're not monsters, but in 1 day or two max, if we can establish a connection, because it's always difficult. And I realize that especially on COVID, to keep track of what people are doing, because obviously we have a lot of work to provide on the side with our studies, with our obligations at home and everything. So it's always good if we can just let people know of what we're advancing. So even if we are, if you are like swamped in the work or something like that, just let people know on the Slack so that we can find solutions, alternative solutions. So this applies for all members, regardless of the teams. What I would really encourage is like be reachable by everyone. So in this case only, we can make sure that the projects advance seamlessly. If we have an issue, we can correct them. But the greatest tool is to have transparency in this case. You know what? Let me just cut the recording, because I noticed that I'm recording and I think it's not worth it anymore.